Most people's Bali holidays go wrong before they even pack their bags, and it's almost never because of the flights, the hotel, or the budget. It's 5 things that most people either forget or assume they don't need. I reached out to some Bali diehards, and with our collective 10 plus trips to Bali, we've created the essential things that you'll need to pack. I've made these mistakes. I've watched other travelers make them worse. So in this video, I'm going to go through 5 things I now always have sorted before I fly to Bali, because getting even one of them wrong can turn a great holiday into a bit of a stressful one. I've been and have spoken to people who have been traveling to Bali for years, and these are the 5 things that are now non-negotiables for me. Let me show you why. The first thing I always pack for Bali is strong insect repellent. And I know you've probably heard this one before, but this is one of those things that people either forget completely or throw in whatever cheap spray they already have in the kitchen cupboard and hope for the best. I don't think Bali is really the place to be casual about mosquitoes, because mosquito bites in Bali are not just annoying, they can present a real health risk. Dengue fever is present in Bali and across parts of Indonesia. It's not common, but it is real, and it's not something that you want to deal with on holidays or fly home with. I'm not saying that to scare you out of going. Bali is an incredible destination, and millions of people visit every year without any issue at all. But I do think it's one of those places where you do need to take mosquito protection seriously. And it's around all the usual places, around sunrise and sunset, near gardens, pool areas, outdoor restaurants and villas, or anywhere really with standing water nearby. And here's the thing about Bali, so much of your holiday is just going to be outdoors. You're eating outside and you're walking around, you sit at beach clubs and you do day trips to rice terraces, temples and waterfalls. So if mosquitoes seem to love you, do not arrive unprepared. What I would always recommend is a spray with at least 40% DEET. At home it's about $12. In tourist areas of Bali, if you can even find proper strength repellent, you're looking at about double that, sometimes more. Pack it from home and keep it somewhere accessible on day one and not buried at the bottom of your suitcase, because depending on your arrival time, you may need it before you even properly unpack. So it's not glamorous, but it's absolutely something I would rather have than need and not have. The second thing I always travel with in Bali is a small backpack or shoulder bag. And this one I learned the hard way. Last time I was in Bali, I did a walk to Seminyak. I knew the walk would be around 40 minutes and decided that I would easily just be able to find water on the walk. This was a bad idea. I needed to make multiple stops for water which were away from my planned walking route, and my phone battery in the heat was not lasting like it would at home. By the time I got there, the heat had already won and I needed to make the walk back. Also, another point, Bali traffic can turn what looks like a short trip into a very long one very quickly. So a small bag, it's not really about fashion, it's about having your essentials with you when you're away from the hotel. I always just like to have those essentials in there. So my water, my sunscreen and sunglasses, a phone, my wallet, a small power bank, and of course the insect repellent, and any medication if you need it. These are the things that keep your day running smoothly. A small bag also makes the arrival experience so much easier. So you can always just make sure you've got your passport, phone and eSIM details all in the one place and not scattered across your carry-on. If you've watched my Bali arrivals video, you'll know that arrival at Denpasar can feel chaotic if you're not organized. There's drivers everywhere and there's signs pointing you in all different directions, and the heat really does hit you when you just get off the plane. So keep it simple, just a lightweight bag with your key essentials and you're set. But the one thing on this list most people don't even think about until it's too late, well, that's number 5 and I'll get to that shortly. The third thing I always pack is something for nausea or stomach issues. And before I go any further, of course, this is not medical advice. I would always recommend that you speak with your doctor or pharmacist before you travel, especially if you have any health conditions or take any regular medication, or if you're unsure what's right for you. But personally, I wouldn't travel to Bali without having something in my bag that can help if I start feeling unwell, because Bali belly is real. And even if you're careful and avoid tap water And if you eat at good spots, sometimes your stomach just does not agree with something. Look, it could be the food or it could be ice in drinks, but look, it can even just be the change of diet and the heat and some dehydration, or a mix of everything and just a bit of bad luck thrown in. And when you're in Bali and you feel sick, that's annoying, but being sick on the day that you're flying home is a completely different problem. You need to get into a car and sit in traffic and deal with all the airport shenanigans. Boarding the plane can be quite rough, but then you have to sit there for hours on the plane. And that's probably the moment where you absolutely do not want to be thinking, I wish I packed something. My travel health kit has a few things in it. There's always something for nausea and something for stomach issues, if the pharmacist recommends it. I do like to take electrolytes either in sachets or in the tablet form, and I would grab a small box before I leave, and it's usually about $6 to $9 a packet, and it can easily last the whole trip. So this is one that people can easily overlook, but between the heat and walking around and the occasional stomach issue, electrolytes can make a real difference to how you feel during the day. And when you're sick overseas, even the small things become hard. Going out to find a pharmacy can feel like too much, but if you're staying in a villa somewhere and it's not right next to a pharmacy, it's even more frustrating and it can be even more of an effort. So I would always sort this out before I leave, talk to a pharmacist, pack properly, and keep it easy to access. The fourth thing I would always pack for Bali is strong sun protection. I've seen people get really stung by this in other tropical locations, and people still completely underestimate the Bali sun. It can be quite a sight to see when there are people walking around looking like they've just ruined the next 3 days of their holiday. And Bali's just not the place to play games with the sun. Because look, you're in a tropical location, you're closer to the equator, and you're on holidays, and being on holidays means that you lose track of time. A classic example of this would be sitting by the pool and having a few drinks. You may initially start in the shade, but the sun's moved, and then suddenly you're in the sun and you've lost track of time. Or another one is where you're on a tour somewhere and don't realize the sun is shining on you through a window, or on a boat because you feel cooler than you should, and suddenly you've had way more sun exposure than you realized. The mistake most people make is thinking sunscreen is only for beach days. I think in Bali, sunscreen is an everyday item. And here's the practical reason to sort this out from home. SPF 50 plus sunscreen that costs around $15 in Australia can easily be around $30 to $40 at resort shops in Seminyak or Kuta. So I would bring enough to last the whole trip. Don't leave it as something you'll just pick up when you get there. You'll end up spending a whole lot more money than you otherwise bargained for. And I would make sure you're looking beyond sunscreen too. Don't just rely on this. Make sure you have a hat and good quality sun-rated sunglasses. You can get sunglasses from Bali, but they may not have the same sun protection that others from back home do. So just be aware of that. And number 5, the one I mentioned earlier, is a travel eSIM. And I think this is one that people genuinely don't think about until they're standing in arrivals hall at Denpasar Airport. So they'll be standing there with no mobile data and trying to find their driver, and sometimes realizing their Australian SIM is either not working or costing them an absolute fortune per megabyte of data. I've been in that arrivals hall and it can feel chaotic even when you know what you're doing. And the last thing you want to be doing in that moment is searching for a SIM card kiosk, figuring out which plan to buy while someone's asking you if you need a taxi. A travel eSIM fixes all of that. You set it up from home the night before you fly, and when you land in your destination, you switch it on and you've got data immediately. It's not that expensive either. I find it fairly reasonable, and you can get solid data coverage across all of Indonesia. And connectivity is a safety issue, not just a convenience one. If something goes wrong, you may need to contact your hotel, reach your travel insurance, or find a medical center, and you don't want to be doing that without mobile data. So I would always set it up before I fly. It takes about 5 minutes, and you'll absolutely thank yourself the moment you land. So those are the 5 things I always pack or organize before every Bali trip. None of these are expensive and none of them are hard to sort before you leave. But I think they're the difference between a trip that runs smoothly and one that starts going wrong before you've even left the airport. Which one of these 5 are you most likely to forget? Drop it in the comments. I'm curious to see whether there's a pattern here. And if this is your first trip to Bali, or even if it's not, I've got a helpful video to help you prepare for what you need to do before you leave for the airport. That one's on screen right now, and I'll see you there. Bye.